So I went to Europe this summer. To start off the trip, we flew from Nashville to Philly and then Philly a direct flight to Nice. Traveling with an infant is not for the weak, but we did have a business class seat and that was really helpful because then baby was able to just like sleep with me. My mom also came with us on this trip, which was so helpful. So we flew into Nice and then we took a 40-minute car down to Cannes, which is right below to the south of Nice. And of course we had to eat immediately because I was so hungry. Nice is absolutely beautiful. I was in town for the Cannes Lion Advertising Festival, and it's a festival where all of the CMOs, chief marketing officers, and CEOs of like the biggest companies in the world are there. It's mostly Americans, to be honest. Like I thought it would be a little bit more global, but it's definitely not. It's mostly just Americans there, but everybody has their yachts and then all the agencies. So like this is Gary Vaynerchuk's yacht, Borg Vayner Media. People throw parties every single night. They do speaking engagements on the yachts. They'll even take the yachts out to like little private islands that have amazing restaurants. And it's really this like giant display of capitalism. I was kind of disgusted when I first got there last year. This is my second year here, but like I kind of also get it now where everyone's just peacocking. Like the platforms are peacocking because they want all the advertisers to advertise on them, like TikTok, Meta, Pinterest.
All 56 years of my life.
This is Spotify's activation. And I was like, why is Spotify spending so much money? And it's because they have advertisers, right? So they're trying to attract advertisers. There's Shabuzi. I love him. He was everywhere this weekend. So that's why people go to Cannes. And then it's just like kind of this ecosystem, right? So like as a media company, I'm there because our partners are there and they're getting wine and dined by literally everyone. Like it is probably the coolest job ever to be the CMO of like a CPG company because everybody wants you. So during the day, I was working, my mom was watching the baby during the day, and then Josh and I would just switch in and out. There's also a ton of secondary events happening, lots of speaking engagements where you can like listen to athletes, celebrities.
Is that Morgan? Oh my goodness. Is that Morgan?
I didn't do speaking engagements this year because I was mostly focused on just meetings. So I just had meetings from like 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. every single day. But my team also was there. So our chief revenue officer, my co-founder Jeff were there. And so they did speaking engagements, which was helpful. Josh and I snuck in a couple of date nights, but I was mostly there for work. And it was great. It's really productive. We met with Victoria's Secret. We met with P&G. We met with lots of different agency partners. And we met with lots of automotive partners, which are some of our biggest clients. At night, it's just a giant cluster of parties and performances on the beach. It goes to like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Your girl could not hang at all. I hung a little, but not like that much. You know what I mean? An appropriate amount.
When I say actor, y'all say fool. Actor, actor. Let's go. All the Fast and Furious fans, this is where we going. We got one more to shoot, right?
All right.
Just bounce with me. Bounce with me.
Bounce.
Fast 10 coming soon. Let's go.
Networking at this level really does happen at social events. It's not just meetings. It's also about just like having drinks with people, going out with people, sharing memories with them. It's a different level of business when you're at this level. And it's something that I learned, especially as an introvert, that's kind of hard for me. Having Josh as a wingman is actually really helpful. We decided to extend our trip and head to Paris. Josh had never been to Paris, and I've only been to Paris as a young woman, and my mom came as well. What advice would you give to grandmas traveling with their daughters and babies?
Just remember that if you weren't there, whatever would happen, it would happen anyway. So it's best just to be quiet and go with the flow, because if you weren't there. Fair enough. We are now filming. So Morgan,
Yes, Mommy.
what would be your advice for one, having grandparents come / parents on trips, work/trips?
My advice would be make sure the grandparent, if they are being a care provider, has rested, has food, water, and when they say they're tired, believe them, don't push them, because it accumulates and compounds. So you want them to be fresh and refreshed every day. And if you push them too hard on one day, that can throw you off balance the next day. Make sure you have clear communication channels, that they have everything they need to communicate with you, and make sure your phone is on, not on silent, not on vibrate. Share your location. definitely share your location so that everybody knows where everybody is at all times. And if there's something new going on with your child or baby, you make sure they know in advance. So for example, Langston is teething, which makes him slightly unpredictable, which means you just kind of have to go with the flow, but make sure you have everything you need to help with whatever is going on with the child so that the grandmother or parent doesn't feel like it's them. It's like, it's not you. They're just growing a tooth, just growing teeth. And that sucks. That's all. Okay, so we stayed in the cutest luxury Airbnb in Paris. It was 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, so cute, full kitchen. Especially traveling with a kid, you kind of need like a washing machine and everything. Look at this chair, it's absolutely adorable. It was so comfortable.
We're in Paris.
We stayed in an area in Paris that was really walkable, near a ton of different restaurants and places to hang out. It was walkable to the Louvre, walkable to Eiffel Tower, walkable to like all the luxury stores. And so we really enjoyed ourselves just like exploring, taking different turns, going to different places. We ate tarts and sweets every single day. I had a croissant every single day, like chowing. So good.
Good. Ça va?
The Eiffel Tower is absolutely gorgeous at night. During the day, it's like giving mediocre. We also went to the outlets, which is like 45 minutes to an hour outside of Paris, and this was actually really fun because its American prices are like but heavily discounted, and because of shopping in Europe you don't have the VAT tax, you actually get money back again. I actually didn't buy that much as I thought I would, but it was still fun to just go shop and walk around. Now, one thing about traveling with a baby is that they do get jet lag, and so Langston like would not go to sleep. He would be wide awake at like 10:30 at night, and Josh and I were trying to go out. So my mom, I love her, but that's like kind of late. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna strap on the baby and like go out and he'll be fine. He'll just take naps and he'll deal. And honestly, he did such a great job. So highly recommend traveling with the baby and just like wearing him.
Oui, oui, Paris.
Our friend Hope also happened to be in town. It was also Paris Fashion Week, so a lot of people were actually in town that second week that we were there, which was so fun. So we went out for like different parties and dinners with friends, and just kind of like a really spontaneous way to like see people you know from New York or DC just like walking in Paris. It's like kind of a weird meta situation. One of the things that I loved about Paris too is like it felt like a place that like we could actually live at. I didn't feel like we were being a tourist like that much. Like we were just kind of existing in Paris. It's kind of how I feel when I go to Washington, D.C., where you're kind of like walking around like, oh yeah, like there's the White House, but you're just like existing. And that was really nice. So I highly recommend for like family trips where everyone kind of can do their own thing and you've got a little bit of flavor of like delicious food, but also just being able to like sightsee and have just like a high quality vacation without the pressure of doing too much. One of the things I also love about Paris is that there's just so many amazing stores. So this is an art shop that I really wanted to go to. It has art supplies, and I was just like in heaven. It was overwhelming the amount of supplies they have there, and they have my favorite brand of watercolor paints, gorgeous pastels. The pigments are just so rich. It's really hard to get this stuff in the United States. You kind of have to buy it on like Amazon, but you can't find it like Michael's and stuff, and the price was like 50% off, and everyone in the store was so knowledgeable. It was so fun, like looking at these different charts, asking questions, and I had a blast just spending a couple $100 at this art shop. And then, of course, I had to go to skincare. The pharmacies in France are unreal. The pharmacists are experts in skincare, so I literally would tell them like, hey, this is what I'm working on, and they gave me all these different samples and an incredible amount of products to actually try.
She wasn't playing with the samples. She wasn't playing with the samples. So many things. This was so nice of her. I appreciate that. That's how you know that these stores do numbers, when they provide this many samples. Or like when the brands give the pharmacy samples to pass out.
They just stop that whole sample.
But this is good because this will really have you trying stuff that you normally, I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Absolutely.
And the prices, like some of these things are available in the US. A lot of ingredients are not available in the US because our FDA sucks and they block a lot of different things that are actually really helpful because of the lobbying system. Don't get me into it. Anyways, so I was able to get some products that actually aren't available here in the US. And so these were so good and I've been trying them already and I love them so much. So this trip was amazing. I think, spending 2.5 weeks in Europe with the family, it was definitely a different type of vacation, but being able to walk everywhere, eat delicious food, and was so fun. And also being able to sightsee a little bit, being able to take baby on his first trip to Europe in such a beautiful time of year. I highly recommend traveling in June to Europe, May and June. I feel like July and August is just like way too hot, especially with a young kid. This was actually nice enough that it felt like, you could still walk around and not be completely like, get me out of here, get me out of the sun. I feel like we're gonna make Europe a part of our annual trip and like something that we do every single year. It's also just a good culture shift. One of the things I love about going to Europe is that, people really enjoy life there. Like, I feel like people work maybe 5 hours a day. They take their holidays, they take their vacations. It doesn't feel like everybody's like busting their butt every single day. And it kind of like shifts your relationship with food because the ingredients are so good. You're eating so much food, like so much more than I would eat here in the US. But I actually came back and I had lost weight because I was walking everywhere. And like, that's the kind of lifestyle I aspire to. So I feel like going to Europe is just a good reminder of the baseline of like how life could be if we weren't a part of a capitalistic society that's like so aggressive and also lived more in community where things were walkable. I find that really inspiring. Hopefully you enjoyed this vlog. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you've gone to Paris this summer, if you're going to Europe this summer, or if you want to go, and let me know what other content you'd like from me. Thanks.